NFT trading just got taken up a notch. Price lock for NFTs have never taken hold, but Tensor HQ just launched the new tool Price Lock that is going to revolutionize the way we can trade NFTs. This gives traders like you and I the opportunity to take our profits to the next level. In this video, we're deep diving into that new tool Price Lock that was just launched on Tensor this last January 2024. So if you're wondering how the heck does this tool work, that is our whole goal of this video, is to teach you how to use this tool to best utilize your NFT trading. First off, what actually is Tensor HQ? Established on November 23rd, 2022, Richard and Ilmoy, I hope I didn't butcher that name, decided to launch Tensor HQ and actually begin building this out. They decided to go head to head against Solana giants like Magic Eden, which was the #1 marketplace in all of Solana. Most never thought a marketplace could even come close to competing against to what Magic Eden was doing. Now Tensor owns over 60% market share in the actual NFT volume that happens on Solana. This two-man team came over a year late to the game and is now the #1 NFT marketplace in all of Solana. That's absolutely insane that they were able to do that. Not only is the Tensor HQ team the #1 trading NFT marketplace, but also they've created an amazing community and a collection that is one of the top collections in all of Solana, known as the Tensorians. If you trade on their marketplace, you have the opportunity to earn Tensor Points, and these points are rumored to be well worth the effort when they are finally launched, but they're not live yet. And right now you can just farm by using their marketplace and trading and creating bids and using like tools like Price Lock. Not only does the marketplace reward you for using their marketplace and trading and putting volume on their marketplace, but if you actually hold a Tensor, the Tensorian NFT, you can multiply your rewards up to 1.5 times by holding and staking that NFT, along with other powerful perks and rewards that come along with holding that NFT. I hope that very quick intro of what Tensor HQ is helps you understand who we're actually dealing with and what this is. So here's some of the important terms I want us to cover before we actually dive into what Price Lock is. So let's first cover what is a short and what is a long. Price Lock is a new feature that is launched on the Tensor marketplace. In short, the idea is to choose whether to go long or to go short for a 7-day period with up to 3.5% fees on top of you trading. To short or to long an asset is definitely a strategy worth considering, especially if you begin trading NFTs in this way. You're taking a guess whether you think an NFT or collectible is going to go up in value or down in value. Let me explain it a little better than that. Investopia helped me describe and understand these definitions that I'm about to explain to you for long and short. So first, let's cover what a long is. Let me read you off this definition that I've written down. If an investor has long positions, it means that the investor has bought and owns those items of the collectible. For instance, an investor who owns 10 Tensorians of the Tensor NFT collection in their portfolio is said to be long 10 collectibles. This investor has paid in full the cost of owning the shares and will make money if they rise in value and are later sold for more than they were bought. So now let's talk about what a short is, the definition of a short. If the investor has short positions, it means that the investor owes these collectibles to someone, but does not own them yet. Continuing the example, an investor who has sold 10 Tensorians of Tensor HQ without yet owning those shares is said to be short 10 collectibles. The short investor owes 10 collectibles at settlement and must fulfill the obligation by purchasing the shares in the market to deliver. Here's 2 more definitions I want to share with you that will hopefully help you understand the way Price Lock works and the people who are involved. So the first definition is a purchaser, or also known as a taker. This would be someone on the short side of a trade. A purchaser or a taker is an investor looking to borrow or buy at a price lock from a funder, either NFTs or Solana, to make a profit going either short or long. Now the other one is called a funder or a maker. A funder or a maker is an investor looking to fund or loan NFTs or Solana to make a profit going either short or long. So a funder is the one that holds the asset, The purchaser or taker is the one looking to borrow an asset. I hope those definitions were helpful, and if they still are a little fuzzy, don't be scared to drop a comment down below, and I would love to help you understand further if there's anything that's still not making sense. Now let's get into actually how this tool works inside of Tensor HQ. So what is a purchase lock? A purchase lock is a way to lock in a buy or sell within 7 days. Important note, price lock is entirely peer-to-peer, hence no protocol risk, and does not rely on Oracle. There are two different kinds of locks, a purchase lock and a fund lock. We're gonna talk about a purchase lock first before we talk about the fund lock. By paying as little as a 3.5% fee, you're able to lock in a buy price for 7 days. These fees could rise depending on which collection you're actually using this tool within. If it's a more volatile collection, those fees could be larger. If it's a more stable collection, those fees could be smaller. This is locking in for 7 days that you believe this collection is going to rise over time when you're going long. Say if you're going to buy a Tensorian, you're hoping that the Tensorian floor price rises over time instead of falls. That's why we're going long here. Let's give you an actual tangible example so this kind of helps you more. Maniac locked in a buy price of 10 Solana for 7 days, minus the fees. Maniac is then betting on the price of his NFT to go up in value over these next 7 days. If the NFT were to go up in value, Maniac would get his initial investment back plus the profit. If the value of that NFT were to say go to 12 Solana, I would get 2 Sol plus the fees that are on top of that. So it'd be a little less than 2 Sol in profit of what I would make. Now, if I were to have an incorrect guess of what the floor price would do and say the floor price went under my lock, I would lose my initial investment and not gain anything from that price lock. Now, if Maniac had an incorrect prediction of his investment and the price actually went down instead of up in value, I would lose my investment and gain nothing. So why would you actually purchase a buy lock? What's the benefit here? This allows you to invest in a larger asset without the capital. Let me explain a little more. This strategy is way more capital efficient. Here are the two examples I want to show you of why this is a better route than just buying a floor NFT. Maniac pays 3.84 Solana to lock a buy price of 100 Sol on a long for a Tensorian for 7 days. So instead of taking 100 Sol and buying a Tensor, I'm only having to pay the 3.5% fee of 3.84 Solana. I'm paying a fraction of what it would cost to actually get a Tensor. The first scenario is this. The Tensorian floor price moves up to 105 Solana and stayed there for the duration of my lock for the 7 days. I would then exercise my right to use the buy lock that I've purchased, and I would gain back my initial investment of 3.84 Solana plus the profit of 5 Sol that was on top of that price lock. So my net profit across this would be 1.16 Solana. The second scenario is if this didn't go to plan. Say Tensorian's floor price drops below my lock-in buy price of 100 and drops to 95 Solana, and then it stayed there for the duration of my lock. Maniac would then gain nothing and have a net loss of 3.84 Solana. All right, now let's talk about how we go short or lock in a sell price. This is locking in a bet over a 7-day period that the price or value of an NFT is gonna go down in value instead of up in value. An investor who locks in a sell price of 10 for 7 days minus the fees, the investor is betting on the price and the value of that NFT to go down over the next 7-day period. If the NFT were to go down in value, the investor would get his initial investment back plus the profit by predicting that correctly. But some fees are also taken from that profit that you earn. Now, if the investor was incorrect over that 7-day period and the NFT actually went up in value, the collector would then lose their initial investment of the fee they paid at the 10 Sol lock-in price. Here's an important note for you that if you actually take part in this, that you should know. If your price lock is set for that 7-day period and you say are busy and not looking at it within the last hour of it being live, if that price lock is within profit within the last hour of it being in that 7-day period, it will auto exercise your right and make sure you lock in profit so you don't miss out. Now let's get into why you should actually purchase sell locks. Like, what's the benefit here of this? Purchasing a sell lock is the only way to hedge the downside for an NFT. Now you can make profit if an NFT goes up or down in value. Here are 2 examples I want to walk you through so you kind of understand how this works and how you can actually make a profit with this. Solana pays 3.84 Solana to lock in a sell price for a Tensorian at 100 Solana floor value. This lock then expires in 7 days. The first scenario, say the NFT goes up in value, so now instead of staying at 100 Solana or less, it goes up to 105 Solana. Solana would lose his 3.84 Solana that he paid in the fee for this sell lock. So then I would gain nothing, I'd lose my money. The second scenario is where we begin taking profit. Let's say the Tensorian floor price goes down to 95 Solana instead of staying at 100 Solana. And it stayed at 95 Solana for the duration of my lock. Solana would then exercise his right and earn a 5 Sol profit. My net profit here would be about 1.16 Solana because my initial fee was 3.84 minus 5 Solana. I earn about 1.16 Solana on my initial investment. So now there's even a way you can earn profit when an NFT drops in value, not only when it goes up in value. Before we go on to the funder side of things, make sure you like this video and comment down below Tensor so I can know if you're bullish or not on this new feature known as price lock in trading NFTs. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on X so you never miss the cool things happening on Solana, and we can always make sure you're informed about what's actually going on this amazing blockchain. So now let's get into how to fund these locks. The cool thing about these fund locks is you don't have to just use Solana in order to take part. You can also leverage the NFTs you're passively holding and earn up to a 486% APY on a passive NFT that you're naturally just gonna hold in a wallet. Why not use it and put it to work? All right, let's get into the first one, fund longs or using your NFTs. As a maker or a funder, you're supplying an NFT to a seller or a purchaser. This position as a maker, you now have the potential to earn a 486% APY here. Now it's not guaranteed, it's an opportunity. If I set a lock out there in the world for someone to use my NFT and they buy that price lock, I am immediately earn my yield when they purchase it. So I don't have to wait for my profit to come in. I immediately earn my yield. When the lock is then purchased, at the end of my 7-day period, I can receive one of 2 things. I could receive Solana in return for that NFT I just leveraged if the price of that NFT goes up in value. So now I'm receiving Solana back instead of an NFT. Or if the NFT goes down in value, then I would receive an NFT in return instead of Solana. An important note for acting as a maker or a funder is this. You need to know that if you are gonna put your NFT as leverage, you can lose that NFT and earn Solana back. So you have the risk of not ever seeing that NFT again if you put it up into this price lock of long. If that's your goal, then you're doing the right thing. But if you're not wanting to lose that NFT, you might want to be careful of leveraging it on a price lock. And also make sure if you do leverage that NFT, you're actually willing to lose it at the price you lock it at. Another really important note you need to know about when you're funding along is this, that Tensor actually takes a 25% fee when you use their price lock. This 25% fee is determined based off the yield, not your actual value of the NFT. So say if it was 100 Sol NFT, you're not gonna get charged 25 Solana. You're getting charged off the yield of that price lock, not the actual value of that NFT. This is locking in a bet for a 7-day period that either the price of that NFT is going to rise or fall over this next 7-day period. That is up to you what you want in return. Do you want your NFT back or do you want Solana back in return? An investor who funds along does 3 things. You have to choose which NFT you're going to supply for this lock. You have to assign a price to that NFT you're willing to lose it at. And then you have to wait for the lock to get purchased. Now this lock could never get purchased. It could just sit there if you're not putting it at a good price for someone that would actually want to buy it. Let's give a quick example. So an investor locks in a long price at 10 Solana. If a long lock is purchased by a taker and the price rises above the floor value that they locked their price in, the investor would then get back their SOL and yield. If the floor value would drop below their lock price, then the investor would get back the NFT and their yield in Solana. So why would anyone actually fund a long? Let's give some better examples and dive deeper into how this actually works and give you real life numbers. A long lock allows a holder who is passively holding a collectible to actually begin earning a yield on this passive holding that they have, instead of just letting this NFT or collectible just sit in a wallet and doing nothing. We're gonna give you 3 examples of what could happen when you fund a long. Soulmaniac funds a long lock on the Tensorian collection. My lock-in price is 100 Solana and will expire within 7 days. Here's scenario 1. Soulmaniac's lock-in price is purchased, and right when it's purchased, I earn my yield of 2.88 Solana that you see in the example on the screen. Now Tensorian's top collection bid rises to 105 Solana. Now that's an important note. It's not the floor price, it's the top collection bid that rose. And now because that top collection bid rose, the purchaser exercises their right to sell that NFT at the profit. Now Soulmaniac would gain 100 Solana because his NFT was sold at 100 Solana, and I would still earn my yield of 2.88 Solana. So I would walk away if my NFT were to sell because the floor price went up with 102.88 Solana with my price lock at that price, and I would not receive my NFT back. Now let's talk about the second scenario here. So I put in a lock price at 100 Solana using my NFT as leverage. Right away, my price lock is purchased and I earn my 2.88 Solana back, which is my yield. Now the Tensorian top bid collection does not rise like the last scenario, but it actually falls. And remember, my price lock was 100 Sol, and so now if the top collection bid goes to say 95 Solana, I'm now down 5 Sol, which if this is my plan, this is a good thing. If this were my plan, I would now gain back my NFT plus my yield. So now my NFT just earned me 2.88 Solana for just holding it and allowing to leverage it in a short. The third scenario is if my lock was actually never purchased by a purchaser or a taker. Then my lock would have to sit there for eternity until I close it, and I would have to just wait for someone to actually buy or a purchaser to come along and like the price that I'm at. The 7-day duration that I speak of does not exist until that price lock is actually purchased. So that lock you put in could sit for months on end if you actually don't have it at the right price or people don't like what you put it at. Either scenario could be a win for the funder, but it all depends on what that funder is looking for in return. Do they want Solana in return, or do they want their NFT back plus Solana back? Now let's talk about funding a short. And this is using your Solana instead of an NFT. Now to fund a short, you can actually not use an NFT in this position, you can only use Solana. Makers in this situation provide Solana as leverage instead of their NFT for a purchaser or taker to short that asset. Same thing for funding a long. If that lock is purchased, the funder will actually immediately receive their yield. They don't have to wait to receive their yield. But if that price lock were to purchase, the funder will receive one of 2 things after the 7-day period expires. The first of what they could receive is Solana in return. If the floor value goes up on their price lock, they would receive Solana back in return instead of an NFT. So if the floor price were to go up, you're getting Solana back plus your yield. Now, if the value would go under your price lock, you would get an NFT back in return and your yield on top of that. Here's an important note for you to take note of when you're a funder funding a short. Your price lock duration could be shorter than 7 days if the purchaser decides to exercise their right to sell that NFT earlier than the 7-day period is over. So you might actually get your money back or your NFT back if it's exercised before the 7-day period is over. It could be less than 7 days. It could be done within an hour if the purchaser liked it enough. Another really important note that you need to understand as a funder for a short is this. Just like the NFT, Tensor takes a 25% fee on top of this, but it's not off the value of the Solana that you put in. It's only off the yield that you're going to earn. So if it was a 2.88 Solana yield, you would be taking 25% off of that. That goes back to Tensor. As an investor funding a short lock, there's two things you need to do. You need to first lock in a price at what you're willing to short at, and then second, wait for a purchaser or a taker to actually use the lock that you placed. This is going to lock in a price that you're betting on the value of that asset to either rise or fall. This is up to you what you want in return. Do you want Solana back in return, or do you want an NFT back in return? So let's say an investor initiates a short. An investor initiates a short lock at 10 Solana for a 7-day period. If a short lock is purchased by a taker within that 7-day period and the price rises above their initial price lock, the investor would then get back Solana and their yield. And then if the price goes below the initial lock price, the investor would get back an NFT and their yield. So you're still getting your yield either way. It's just, are you getting a chunk of Solana back or an NFT back? So why would you actually fund a short lock? Let's get into that and let's get a better example down underneath us. An investor can now earn a yield on their Solana just like they can for their NFT. So if you're just holding Solana, why not put it to work? Funding a short lock is a better way of earning a yield and purchasing the NFT of the desired collection you want to be a part of. So now you can earn an NFT and earn a yield at the same time. And this is better than lending because now the interest is paid up front. Funding a short lock is another way of purchasing your desired collection while earning a yield more efficiently than lending, since the interest is actually paid up front. Let's get into 3 examples that can actually help you understand this a little better and give you like a tangible overview of what this actually looks like to fund a short. In the first example, Solmaniac sets a short lock. That lock price is sitting at 100 Solana value. Now Solmaniac's price lock is immediately purchased, and I now earn my yield of 2.88 Sol. Now let's say the Tensorian floor price rips and goes up to 105 Solana value, and now I'm in profit. What now happens? Now the purchaser exercises their right to utilize my lock within that 7-day period. So now my lock would be considered not in profit, and instead I would be earning back 100 Sol plus my yield. So I'd be earning back 102.88 Solana. Now here's the second scenario. Say that I have that same price lock at 100 Solana value, and now the price goes down in value instead of up. So same with that 7-day period, say the purchaser and the taker exercises the right to use that lock. Now I would earn an NFT back plus my yield. So now I'm getting a Tensor back plus 2.88 Solana. So whether or not that's what you wanted, that's up to you. In the third scenario, say I set that price lock at 100 Sol, but no one likes it. Then my price lock could sit there for months on end if no one ever actually exercises my price lock and takes advantage of it. Don't forget to like this video and comment down below short or long in all caps to let me know which way you prefer NFTs to move. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on X so you never miss cool things that are getting built in the Solana ecosystem, just like what Tensor just did in this video. We just covered the entire new price lock feature on the Tensor HQ marketplace. You learn the difference between a short and a long, a maker and a taker, a funder and a purchaser, and the amazing ways you can allow a passive holding to actually begin earning yield for you. If you're interested in to continue binge watching some Solana content, watch one of these videos that pop up at the end of this, and I would love to continue having you watch along and learn about what is getting built on the Solana blockchain.